All right, let's talk about a piece of technology that's absolutely critical to broadcasting, but almost nobody ever sees it. It's the invisible highway that sound travels on before it ever gets to you. We're talking about the studio-to-transmitter link, or what everyone in the biz just calls the STL.
And just so you know, this is part 1 of a full 10-part tutorial on this stuff. Today we're laying the groundwork, getting all the core ideas down so everything else we talk about later will make perfect sense.
You know, it all starts with a question that's so simple we kind of forget to ask it. You see a big broadcast tower on a hill. You tune your radio. But how did the audio from that soundproof studio, which could be miles and miles away, actually get to that tower? That's the problem that needs solving.
And the answer, of course, is the studio-to-transmitter link. At its heart, its job is never ever changed. Get the audio from point A, the studio, to point B, the transmitter. And you have to do it with rock-solid reliability and basically zero delay. That's the whole mission.
Now, how we pull off that mission? Well, that's a whole other story. It's evolved like crazy. Today, broadcast engineers really have 3 main families of technology to pick from. So, let's break them down.
First up, the classic, the original, RF, or radio frequency links. And I love this analogy. Think of this as building your very own private highway. You build it, you own it, you control every single inch of it. There's no one else's traffic to get in your way. But as you can imagine, building your own highway, yeah, that comes with a pretty hefty price tag.
Okay, next we have IP solutions. And this is the polar opposite. Instead of building your own road, you use the roads that are already everywhere. The internet, fiber, broadband. This is the public highway system. It's super cheap to get going because it's already there. But, and this is the big but, you're sharing it. You have to be ready for traffic jams, what we call network congestion.
So, what about our third option, MPLS? Well, this one is pretty clever. It's like getting your own private, guaranteed speed toll lane on that public highway. You pay a service provider a premium, and they promise you a clear, fast path with no traffic jams. It's basically reliability as a service.
So let's put them right next to each other. The choice really comes down to where you are and what you believe in. Are you trying to get a signal to a transmitter on top of some remote mountain? Man, RF is your hero. It gives you total independence. But are you in a city where there's fiber everywhere? Then IP and MPLS lets you tap into that existing network for a ton of flexibility and scale. To really get why we even have these different options, it helps to look back at how we got here. I mean, this stuff didn't just pop up overnight. It's been a slow and steady evolution for the better part of a century. Let's check out the timeline.
You can really see the story unfold here. For decades, from the 50s all the way to the 80s, it was all analog radio links. That was the only game in town. The 90s finally brought us clean digital audio. But the real earthquake, the thing that changed everything, was in the mid-2000s when we started using IP. And that brings us to today, the super flexible era of mixing and matching systems, using tools like MPLS to guarantee that signal gets through.
Okay, so those analogies, private roads, public highways, they're great for wrapping your head around the concepts. But when an engineer is responsible for keeping a station on the air, they can't make a decision based on a nice analogy. They need hard data. They need a scorecard. So let's look at the exact things they measure to compare these systems. First off, you got to look at the audio itself. This really breaks down into 2 things. One is quality. Stuff like sample rate and bit depth. That tells you how clean and detailed the sound is. The other is how it's being transported. What compression or codec is it using? And maybe most important, how much of a delay or latency does it add? And is that delay always the same? Any variation there, we call that jitter, can be a huge problem. Now, the other side of that scorecard is all about how tough, how bulletproof the link is. This is where you measure uptime in nines, like 99.999% availability. For an RF link, it means having enough power or fade margin to blast through a storm. For an IP link, it means how well it handles missing data packets. And for any modern system, it's got to have great remote monitoring and a super fast automatic switch to a backup if the main link ever hiccups. So, the key takeaway here is that these aren't just a bunch of abstract specs on a data sheet. For a broadcast engineer, this list is everything. It's the blueprint they use to make huge financial decisions, all to make sure that what goes into the link comes out the other side perfectly, every second of every single day. Which brings us to the final decision. And here's the secret. There is no single best STL. The right choice is always a balancing act, a series of trade-offs between things you want.
This quote from the source material really just nails it. You have to look at the actual physical path from A to B, decide how much downtime you can live with, figure out what you can actually afford,
and think about who's going to be keeping this thing running for the next 10 or 20 years.
And that really leaves us with the ultimate question. It's that classic engineering triangle. Pick two, they say. Do you need absolute, must-not-fail reliability? The flexibility to grow and add more channels later, or the lowest possible cost, right now? The answer to that question is what points you to the right technology.
And that's our big picture view of the world of STL. Hopefully, you've got a solid framework now for how all this works. Be sure to join us for part 2 because we're going to do a deep dive on RF systems, the original workhorse that, even in this age of the internet, still plays a massive and sometimes irreplaceable role in broadcasting. We'll see you then.